Edmonton Eskimos and the BC Lions kick off their 2014 season in Vancouver.
Chris Jones been an assistant in the Canadian Football League for 12 years, and in those 12 years, the teams he's worked on have never missed the playoffs. Mike Benavides, third year as the head coach of the BC Lions, and in his first 2 years, 24-12 record.
Grant Shaw kicks it off. It will be Andrew Harris with the opening kickoff, and he'll slide across the 35-yard line. Tuck on the play by Mike Miller as Kevin Glenn in charge of the BC Lion offense to start 2014.
Well, it's his team. It's his team for at least the next 6 weeks. Mike Benavides, the head coach, announcing yesterday in the press conference that Travis Lulay will be on the shelf and is on the 6-game injured list. So Kevin Glenn has the keys to the car in BC.
13 game starts last year with the Stampeders, a 10-3 record. Harris in the backfield as they open it up. Play action fake, and the pass to Sean Gore is caught for a first down at the 51-yard line in front of Joe Burnett.
2 games in the preseason, Glenn got a lot of action. Completed 76% of his throws, and he's on this first throw of the game to Sean Gore. Nice catch. He has to reach behind him a little bit.
13 yards on the opening play from scrimmage for the BC Lions. How excited are they about Kevin Glenn? Mike Benavides called it the trade of the century, getting Kevin Glenn, who is 2 for 2 out of the gate with a completion to midfield. Our starters to watch brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, where custom advice comes standard.
Well, there's Kevin Glenn in the middle. 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions with Calgary last season. And when you take a look at the 2 running backs he'll be working with, the BC Lions call it the twin set. We'll at times in this game tonight and throughout the season see both Andrew Harris and Stephon Logan on the field at the same time.
4 yards to Keto Poblup, and now the Twins formation with Andrew Harris and Stephon Logan both released. Flag comes down. Glenn dumps it off, and it's complete. Harris gets away. Andrew Harris down the sidelines. He will score, but again, there is a flag on the play. 55 yards, Glenn to Harris. Let's see if it stands.
Talked about the twin set, Chris. They had both those backs in the backfield.
Offside. Edmonton number 90. That penalty be declined. Touchdown.
Both backs in the backfield, Stephon Logan and Andrew Harris, they have released already. So now it's Kevin Glenn on the play action, just going to look to his right, peel out of there, do a blind turn, get on the edge to the left side of the formation, and Andrew Harris had opened up, does the rest on his own.
Dexter McCoyle couldn't bring him down, and Harris, who had 11 touchdowns last year, scored 6 against the Eskimos, and off to a quick start in 2014. .44-year-old Paul McCallum on to add the extra point. And just like that, it's the Lions up by a touchdown after their opening possession. As Andrew Harris hits pay dirt for the 55-yard play.
Well, they're going to go to that twin set. Both talented backs on the field at the same time, and a nice adjustment down the field by Andrew Harris.
Eskimos will get their first touch of the football after the return by Pat Robertson.
Andrew Harris on the release in this offensive play is the second back out. He's right there, and watch how he's going to have a deep route down the field and then adjust when Kevin Glenn starts to scramble, come back the other way. Hold it right there now. He's the deep route, so he comes back. If you're a deep route and your quarterback scrambles, come back and create a target for him. If you're a shallow route, you turn and go deep. Andrew Harris played receiver there. Perfect.
First look at the new look Eskimo offense. Mike Riley at the controls. was 0-3 against his old team last season. Check their starters to watch.
Well, he's got a very reliable and superstar target in Fred Stamps, 1,259 receiving yards a year ago. A newcomer in the backfield. It was a good competition at tailback with Tyler Thomas, John White, and Hugh Charles. Hugh Charles now at Saskatchewan Roughriders, and it's Tyler Thomas's job.
3-yard gain on that pass to Darius Bowman. Sets up 2nd and 7. Riley to throw, pressure on, flushed, and he'll take off. And Mike Riley will run for first down, something we're told we won't see as much of this year after he rolled up 709 rushing yards last season.
You know, we talked to him yesterday about how much he ran the ball last year, and he said this offense is designed so that I don't have to, that there'll be check downs, there'll be a lot of options for me. He also said, and it's a nice running lane as you can see, he also said, though, we were behind a lot last year, so I had to do whatever it took. They're behind early in this one.
Run of 10 yards. Now it's a swing pass to Bowman. Cuts over midfield. Wrestled down by Ryan Phillips. But another first down as the Eskimos move into Lions territory on a 17-yard play.
Stephen McAdoo is the new offensive coordinator in Edmonton, and Riley talked about how he wants to get Darius Bowman and Fred Stamps to work on different sides of the field and change in multiple formations. Feel like if they've got balance, it'll be more difficult for defenses to put 2 players on Fred Stamps.
At the Lion 48, first down, quick hitter to Bowman, and he has met back at the 50-yard line, dropped for a loss. Ford Parks, who has moved inside with the defensive play.
Well, the strength of this Lions team, as good as they looked in that first drive offensively, will be their front 7 to start the season. That's led by Solomon Elamimian at middle linebacker, and of course Adam Bighill beside him. One newcomer on the defensive line, Karan Williams, no longer with the team. He was in a competition with Brandon Jordan. That's Alex Bazzi, who will play at the rush end spot.
Bazzi goes to the sidelines. Westerman takes his spot at defensive end, 2nd and long, and pressure on. This time they get to Riley back inside the 50-yard line. Kareem Smith with his first sack after 7 in 2013.
Boy, our conversation with head coach Mike Benavides, he talked about Kareem Smith, and I was actually quite surprised. I know he's been an underrated player for a couple of years, but the head coach said to us, if we don't have Kareem Smith in 2011, we don't win the Grey Cup. That's how important he was.
Remember, they got off to the bad start, and he joined them at 0-5 and helped turn the season around. Logan is spun down. There will be a no yards call on the play, a 35-yard punt. Dexter McCoyle was there on the tackle. McCoyle taking the spot of J.C. Sherritt in this game. Tom Valesi's in charge.
No yards. Edmonton number 45. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So the Lions, with Kevin Glenn at the controls, have a 7-0 lead early here in BC. Finished last year, but unable to start this season after off-season shoulder surgery. Travis Lulay yesterday put on the 6-game disabled list.
Which means, under the new rules, the 2011 most outstanding player in the CFL and the Grey Cup MVP that year will not be able to practice with the football team for 4 weeks at least, and will be off for 2 more after that. Now, they could pull him off early. That's an option.
Here's the pitch. Logan follows the blocking, bounces off first contact, and is taken down by Marcus Howard. Four-yard pickup.
Could come back early, Chris, but they'd prefer not to do that. The window for Travis Lulay was 6 to 9 months. He's at month 7 right now, and it's just not ready. So they just to stop the speculation and the discussion, they're going to take him and put him on that 6th game. It's Kevin Glenn's team.
Glenn acquired May 13th and a deal from the Ottawa Red Blacks for their first draft choice. That one is picked off. Pass over the middle. was intercepted, and it's Eddie Steele with the football. The former Manitoba Bison defensive tackle steals it from Kevin Glenn. So the first turnover sticks to the hands of the big defensive tackle.
Eddie Steele lined up over Matt Norman is going to just hold on the line of scrimmage here. Norman gives him a chuck there. Now Norman is going to want to hit him again because he'll get his hands down. Eddie Steele sees that ball coming across the middle, and look at those paws.
Sign him up. Eskimos had only 29 takeaways last year, last in the league. They get one early here, trying to get back in the game. Pump one way, Kuhorn the other, and he can't make the catch. Nate Kuhorn open, and a missed opportunity from Mike Riley.
Well, two things here. Riley put this on a line and made it a more difficult catch than it had to be because Kuhorn is wide open. I'm talking 7 to 10 yards open. He's going to pump fake first to Riley's left and then go back to the wide field, and he's got a wide open receiver. He puts a little more air on this. Kuhorn can just run underneath it. The other thing is Kuhorn made a bit of a mistake by floating inside. If he stays along the sideline, he'll run right under that.
Ran by Ronnie Yelp, a newcomer on the corner for BC. 2nd and 10. Riley on the run. In pursuit, Khalid Mitchell, and Riley will lunge across the 25-yard line and be close to a first down.
Off-season, after the hits that Riley took last year, you know, I thought he put some weight on, and I thought that would mean he's a little bit heavier, maybe take some of the speed away. And he doesn't look slower at all. In fact, it looks to me like Riley's gained some speed from a year ago. He gets the corner here. That imaginary clock in his head ticked down. He realized he had to get out of the pocket. And he got the corner, outrun some angles.
Ryan Phillips, the tackle, forcing this measurement. But it's the second 10-yard run of the game for Mike Riley. And another Eskimo first down.
Well, he led all quarterbacks. A lot of times he was forced to run. And let's be honest, ran for his life some occasions last year. And a team that won just 4 games. But leading rusher in the quarterback category, and wants to do a little less of that this year, although we've seen a couple already in this game.
At 85 yards in the 3 games rushing against BC last year. 6 times he had rushing totals of 50 yards or more. First down, more time, into the corner looking for Bowman, and Ryan Phillips is on the scene.
Well, I went to Ryan Phillips in practice yesterday just to cut it off and get right to the point.
Yes.
Because the active leader in interceptions, tied with Corey Banks at 37 right now, is Ryan Phillips. And he didn't make the top 50 team. And so I knew I'd hear about it, and rather than wait for Ryan to find me, I went and found him, and he said, hey, it's okay. I get how it all works. He's ready to go.
He's on our teams.
He's on our
15
team.
other voters.
That's right.
Glad we're off the hook. Here's Bowman. Broke a tackle in another, and it's another first down for the Eskimos. Down around the 10-yard line. Darius Bowman coming off a monster game against the Lions last year. Biggest game in the Canadian Football League last year by a receiver. 6 for 199.
Well, they have got to keep the 28-year-old healthy. I mean, if he can stay healthy, this is a weapon that I don't think is even, I mean, he's had a 1,000-yard season back in 2011, but I don't think we're scratching the surface. I think Darius Bowman could be a 1,500 to 1,700-yard receiver.
He has 4 so far. We haven't heard from the leading receiver in the CFL last year. Not yet, but it'll be McCarty out of the backfield to the cone, and it's in for the touchdown. The BC native Calvin McCarty, the longest-serving Eskimo, in for the score.
So reliable, can play a lot of different positions, has throughout his 8-year career. Calvin McCarty can play tight end. He plays fullback as good as any fullback in the league. And if he needs to, he can play tailback as well.
All scoring plays reviewed. They confirm it is an Eskimo touchdown. McCarty had 2 last year receiving. Grant Shaw the extra point. So they scored 7 after the Glenn interception. And the game is tied. So after the Eddie Steele interception, the Eskimos march down and tied the score as Grant Shaw kicks off. And once again, it will be Andrew Harris on the return for BC following that convoy and wrestled out just beyond the 40-yard line. And the man who scored the touchdown in the vicinity again.
Boy, what he did before the snap of the football really helped him get open out there in the flat. He lines up back here in the backfield so that he's going to end up coming out this side, but he wants to get a better angle, hold the linebacker so he gets wide, then he bounces back towards line, shoots across the formation, and Adam Bighill gets caught looking at Mike Riley, allowing Calvin McCarty out into the flat.
Kevin Glenn hands it off, and it is McCarty up across the 45. Came up 2 yards short of a 1,000-yard season a year ago.
This Edmonton defense will be interesting this year. Pat Watkins comes over with Chris Jones from the Toronto Argonauts a year ago. Rennie Curran will anchor the middle. This is a team that really struggled against the run a year ago, and I got a question for you, partner, when it comes to Marcus Howard. I really believe he had a big year last year at 10 sacks. I believe he can be a Charleston Hughes type player. He's got to take one more step, but he could be that guy.
2nd and 5. Harris ducks away from first contact, but then gets pulled down by the defensive half. Aaron Grimes steps up to make sure Harris doesn't get the first down.
Well, with both these backs for the Lions, Andrew Harris or Stephon Logan, the Edmonton Eskimos are going to have to gang tackle, make sure they continue to pursue. Single back behind Kevin Glenn.
Ricky Schmidt, the punter for the Lions this year, and that ball bounces out at the 32-yard line. Well, it's the debut of Chris Jones, 12 years an assistant, his first as a head coach, and we talked to him yesterday about the change in his workday.
You know, they always say that, you know, it's a lot more work than you think, and it is. It's a lot more work than you think. I mean, I've always spent a lot of hours. I've always been a grinder, but there's just so many more different aspects of the things that you already have to do. It's just times 3. And then you have to do these types of things, which is not really, you know, it's not really my thing.
Yeah, he'd much rather talk to his players than talk to us. But 12 years, never miss the postseason. Success wherever he's been.
Yeah, he really has. 12 years, as I mentioned off the top, in the CFL. He has 3 Grey Cup rings as an assistant, 02 in Montreal, 08 in Calgary, and of course 2 years ago, the 100th Grey Cup with Toronto.
Pass for Fred Stamps was incomplete, so it's 2nd and 10. Pressure off the edge. Riley hit by Kareem Smith. And the ball came loose, so they rule this a fumble, and it's Adam Bighill into the end zone. And they'll review this, but it looks like a BC Lion go-ahead touchdown.
Well, all turnovers we reviewed. Mike Riley's talking about it, and the refs are going to let the play continue, and then they'll review it, take a look as to whether or not it's a forward pass and incompletion, or if it's a fumble created by this man, Kareem Smith, who's been in the backfield a couple of times early in this game. Good speed around the edge. Is the arm going forward?
The previous play, because it's a scoring play, is being reviewed.
Looks like the arm's coming forward, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does to me too. I mean, he changes the angle as he's moving his arm forward because Kareem Smith is right there. But it looks to me like when it leaves his hands, it was a forward throwing motion. What is
Big Hill didn't waste any time vacuuming that up.
Well, that's what they do. I mean, the refs will let the play continue. They know it'll be reviewed. Any change of possession or scoring play, this was both.
Had a touchdown last year on a fumble recovery against Montreal. Adam Big Hill, number 11 on our top 50. And we both voted for him too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a no-brainer right there. 44 is making that list, and 94 is going to make it too. He keeps playing like this early on. Again, it looked like the forward motion of that arm. This touchdown may be coming back.
The previous play is under review.
And this review taking a little longer than we might have expected.
Well, and take one more look at that, because I think the thing they're checking again is he changes the throwing motion, and when he does that, is he pausing it in the middle to try and grab it and maintain possession, or is he trying to throw it and it comes out of his hands? But it really does look like his arm's moving forward. Right now it's forward, and it leaves his hands there. It looks like a forward throwing motion.
You're right, though. Kareem Smith has been a force in this opening quarter, working against Thaddeus Coleman, the right tackle, who was on the other side of the Eskimos' offensive line last year. So we do have a verdict.
After review, the ruling is incomplete pass. Be third down.
So the right call, and this year, one of the changes, no need for a challenge from Chris Jones. Change of possession plays like that, and as you mentioned, even a scoring play as well. A couple of reasons why that was going to automatically be reviewed.
Well, and players now are being instructed by their coach to just continue with the play, which Adam Big Hill did, and then they'll let him sort it out afterwards.
And John handles all the kicking duties. And here is Stefan Logan from his 33 with a flag. And he is contained just across the 35-yard line. 45-yard boot, 3 on the return.
No yards. Edmonton, number 36. 15-yard penalty. First down.
15-yarder against Aaron Grimes. Kevin Glenn at the controls, as we mentioned, after Mike Benavides had to put Travis Lulay on the 6-game disabled list.
We miscalculated his recovery. The surgery went well, he's progressing, but certainly his recovery isn't where we had anticipated. So we're going to put him on the 6th game. He's going to recover there. It helps us get everybody else ready, takes pressure off the club, takes pressure off of him, and we know that in another 3 weeks he'll be performing with the team. So that's kind of where it's at right now with him.
And they say they misjudged, but I talked to Travis yesterday as well, and he said it was between 6 and 9 months, and he's at month 7 now. He's got 2 months more to go. So they were being cautiously optimistic that he'd come back early, and it just wasn't right.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Connor Amacion was called for a roughing penalty, tacking on after the Courtney Taylor reception.
You see Kevin Glenn shaking that right hand after the hit, and this is why that injury and the situation for Mike Benavides with Travis Lulay that much more important, because after Kevin Glenn, it gets real inexperienced from there with John Beck and Travis Parton.
So the hit on the quarterback below the knee draws the flag. It's a first down, BC. Oh, looking for Logan, and it was taken away, and Kevin Glenn is sacked back at the 45-yard line, and Eddie Steele has had a solid first quarter.
Play made by Odell Willis, a quiet Odell Willis in training camp this year with Chris Jones. Watch how he reacts to Stephon Logan coming out of the backfield here. Number 10 is going to release. 41 takes him. That's where Kevin Glenn wanted to go. He has to pull it down, and the sack gets there.
So 2nd and 16. Glenn has time. Looking for Ernest Jackson. And what a catch down at the 5.
On the short side corner, Pat Watkins. Nice physical matchup there. Watkins at 6'5", but Ernest Jackson's not tiny at 6'2", 220. And what a catch as he leans away
Illegal
from
contact.
Watkins.
Edmonton number 23. That penalty is declined. First down.
So 9 against 9, and Patrick Watkins, number 15 on the top 50 list. Coming over with Chris Jones from Toronto and Ernest Jackson.
It's going to be an interesting little matchup to watch here this afternoon.
Jackson taking the spot to the injured Emmanuel Arsenault, who might be ready next week. 1st and goal, BC. Here comes pressure. Clayton gets it away, but out of the reach of Andrew Harris. As the Chris Jones defense dials it up. And a flag down once again.
Yeah, real late one there. And looked like Ernest Jackson came down. Now, I'm not sure if they saw this as a pick or rub or if it was something unrelated, but Ernest Jackson came down hard to try and get in the lane of any linebacker that was covering Andrew Harris out of the backfield there.
Objectionable conduct. Edmonton number 9. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
It's Watkins.
Yep. Watkins, he was on Ernest Jackson. Now let me show you what happens here. Ernest Jackson here, there's Watkins in that press coverage. Jackson's going to come down and try and set a pick or a rub here offensively. And takes a shot there. I didn't see Patrick Watkins do or touch anybody.
Must have happened very late.
Or maybe something he said.
Well, first down over. 1st and goal now from the 2. And Harris met right at the line of scrimmage. Might have even lost a yard. And at the bottom of the pile is Dexter McCoyle.
Out of Tulsa. Was a safety in college. J.C. Sherritt not in the lineup defensively. So McCoyle gets a chance and was in there for the stop down on the goal line.
Eskimos didn't have Sherritt for 8 games last year. They were 0-8 without J.C. Sherritt, who is going to move outside. Little play action fake, and the touchdown toss complete to the big man. It's T. Gray Player, the rookie, and could he ever imagine scoring a touchdown in his first Canadian Football League game?
Now, lots of talk about how he would hang in there in his first start at left guard beside Matt Norman. And no one really brought up, are you thinking of using him as a receiver when they were talking with the head coach? But they bump him out from guard to tight end here. Kevin Glenn with play action to Andrew Harris. TJ Player gets his first touchdown.
Cam Thorne moved into the guard spot for Player. As you mentioned, a tight end. And Kevin Glenn with an unlikely touchdown recipient.
Nice play designed by Kahari Jones, offensive coordinator. And, you know, if I'm scouting the BC Lions defensively, their goal line scheme, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to say, hey, just in case the rookie guard goes to tight end, we better cover him down. And right there is TJ Player playing that tight end spot, bumps out, uncovered, just releases on the snap of the football. All he has to do is catch it and hang on, and he did it pretty comfortably, didn't he?
Well, he's had a great camp, replacing the retired Patrick Kabongo in that new look offensive line for the Lions, which has seen retirements to Angus Reid, Kabongo, and Ben Archibald on the left side of the line. But Player looks like a player.
Well, here's a player. Yeah, they like him. I mean, it's something when you start your first year after being drafted, and he just continued to improve throughout training camp and the preseason, and they're real comfortable that their O-line is improved with TJ Player in a guard.
This is Beckton on the return. Up to the 34-yard line.
Well, you know, that I mentioned his first touchdown. It probably his first touchdown ever. And Coach Mike Benavides is going to go and celebrate. Clearly, the coach has been working on that celebration move in the offseason because some problems with that last year, if I remember correctly.
So once again, Mike Riley and the Eskimos trail by a touchdown. Fake to Thomas, and it's Bowman once again. And Adarius Bowman with his 5th catch as an Eskimo first down. Still waiting to see Tyler Thomas, the new running back who helped displace Hugh Charles at the tailback position.
Yeah, haven't seen a lot of him, and we haven't seen a lot of Fred Stamps in the offense. It's been a steady guide of Adarius Bowman, which is a good sign for Edmonton Eskimo fans. And I mean that in that there's other weapons, because they'll eventually get it to Stamps. You know that.
Once again, they fake and dump it off. Here's Shamon Chambers, gets to the edge, down the sidelines and into BC Lion territory for the 3rd-year man, Shamon Chambers. So the Eskimos offense moving as the first quarter comes to an end. Kevin Glenn with a couple of touchdown passes. One to Andrew Harris and the other to TJ Player. 14-7 after 1 quarter in BC. A turnover, and the Lions with a 7-point lead after 15 minutes.
A deep throw to Ernest Jackson for BC has sort of pumped up those stats a little bit in the passing yards. Other than that, both offenses look pretty good. The only surprise I would have for Edmonton, although they have been behind throughout that first quarter, is not much of Tyler Thomas.
We were told that it would be more multifaceted, and it looks like a different offense, but nevertheless, we haven't seen that running element yet, except for Mike Riley, which they're trying to get away from.
Well, they had 20 yards rushing, and Mike Riley's had 2 10-yard runs. So that's where the rushing yards have come from in the first quarter. And, yeah, let's see a little more Tyler Thomas. Now, again, they've been behind. The Lions scored on their first drive. They were down 7-0, now down 14-7. So put the ball a little bit more in the air when you're behind.
Start the second quarter. Eskimo football at the Lion 46. Flag down, free play for Riley. And he looks on the corner, run for Stamps. And does he have it? No, incomplete.
Boy, Riley gave him a chance.
And Fred Stamps isolated on the newcomer at the strong side linebacker spot. Josh Johnson replacing Corey Banks.
Offside, BC number 79. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
But you saw that flinch at the line by Eric Taylor.
There's one of these examples, Chris, of how Edmonton puts Fred Stamps, who's normally into the boundary, to the wide field here to run this corner route. He does run it on Josh Johnson. And Riley gave him a shot. Johnson pulled it out of there.
1st and 5, Guyton reverses field, and here is Thomas, first carry, and it's a good one. Second level and brought down by Solomon Elimimian, the middle linebacker of the Lions. But a little dash by Thomas, who boasts sub 4.40 speed.
We just talked about how a little surprised that we haven't seen more of him, although the strength of the BC defense is in the interior of their defensive line, along with Kareem Smith and Solomon Elimimian. But there is a look at who Tyler Thomas is, and I'll tell you, folks, 4.39 is picking him up and putting him down. That's flat out speed.
We both had to hit Google to find out where Bacone is. Muskogee, Oklahoma. And there is Stamps, and he's tripped up by Dante March. Touchdown, saving tackle, but 1st and goal, Edmonton at the 5 as Stamps has his first catch and a 23-yard gain.
And this is back where Fred Stamps normally is found, and that's into the boundary on the other side. So Mike Riley gave us a heads up on the fact that they want to be more multifaceted with their offense. Move people around a lot more. Make it difficult to double team one particular player. Get the running game involved as they are in this drive, and they're on the doorstep.
Like an improved Edmonton Eskimo football club. First and goal, inside the 5. Fake to Thomas. Pass is busted up. Intended for a Darius Bowman. And there's the veteran, Dante Marsh.
Yeah, we had to kind of Google search and check out exactly where the school was. But he's a big thing in Muskogee, Oklahoma.
Minoki from Muskogee.
Yes, sir. And that's the front page of the athletic department there at the university. And they're going to be watching on ESPN 2 or 3, depending on how they find the game.
Second and goal, 4 receivers to the near side. Riley, quarterback draw, and it got closed down in a hurry. And there's Eric Taylor to shut it down.
Wow, big play. And this is something that you got to believe Mark Washington prepared for when facing Mike Riley. That in the scoring zone, he is such a good runner. We told you early on that he led all quarterbacks. You get down in that area, quarterback draws a call that you know they go to, and that's good scouting.
Eric Taylor just signed a new contract extension. He's one of the Lions captains. Washington, the new D coordinator, and it's a stop for his defense on the goal line. And the Lions continue to lead now by 4. Vancouver, BC. Did my partner do the gross grind limber up for the game today?
No, but you know, we could do that next time we're out here.
Yeah.
We'll let you want to do that together. That is a workout. A favorite here in the Lower Mainland, the grouse grind.
Lions off to accept the kickoff from Brent Shaw. After the goal line stand by BC. Good boot drives Logan back to his 5. And Logan across the 25 before he gets buried. Nathan Kanya with the special teams tackle.
Good completion percentage for Kevin Glenn so far in this game, 6 of 8. Had the one interception, that by a defensive lineman.
See Kahari Jones there last year with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Mike Benavides called Kevin Glenn when he was considering an offensive coordinator and asked him about Kahari Jones. And later, after hiring Kahari Jones, he went to Kahari Jones and said, "What about Kevin Glenn? Should we go after him from Ottawa?" And both were able to help each other get jobs in BC.
Well, they've worked together before. Great mutual respect between the two, and as Mike Benavides mentioned in his press conference, maybe the trade of the century. It's a big one for the Lions, especially with Travis Lulay on the shelf, and Kahari Jones gets his opportunity to run an offense, and so far it looks like it's got lots of different options. Certainly has lots of weapons. And remember, Manny Arsenault is on the shelf for probably 2 more weeks.
The Lions had 4 men in the backfield behind Glenn, and when they scattered, Glenn is taken down. And they are ruling that Kevin Glenn is down, and Marcel Young picked it up just in case. But pressure on Kevin Glenn, and the Eskimo defense gets the job done to force it to an out.
Right off the edge as he sort of starts at the linebacker spot as if he's over to cover down on a receiver. And you don't often see the short side corner on a blitz, but Pat Watkins there too.
No, Watkins and Young.
Yeah.
They're sending everybody. Ricky Schmidt, the former Rough Rider, with the boot. And Patrick Robertson once again on the return. Up near midfield, where he gets stacked up. 35-yard boot, 13 on the return. Mike Riley at the controls when we come back. more on Riley from Farhan Lalji. Comfortably established himself as a #1 quarterback in Edmonton last year, but feels even more confident about his status in year 2 with more. Farhan Lalji.
Yeah, Chris, and a big reason for that confidence is a new contract extension that Riley signed this week, and it really signified that this is his team and in many ways his franchise. I spoke to Jarius Jackson, his quarterback coach right now. Jarius worked with him earlier in his career in BC, and he says that Mike is a completely different player between then and now. He said back then he was completely erratic, and when he first got the keys to the car here in Edmonton, he felt like he had to do way too much, always wanted to get the ball downfield, wasn't content with making underneath plays, and he always felt like he had to show that he could play at a high level in this league. But that has changed this year. He's much more calm. Even the Lions coaching staff, who watched him so closely back then, they believe he's a much more polished player, and you can really tell that the team has a completely different level of confidence in their quarterback this year than they did at this time last year.
Some coaches call it being the point guard. You know, just there's Jarius Jackson now in the Edmonton staff, just to distribute the football. Riley mentioned that to us yesterday in the meeting that we had with him, that he's got a lot of options in this offense, and he wants to get the ball in the hands of the guys that can make something happen with it.
A lot of options here. 1st and 5. Pressure off the edge. Riley got it away, but Shamad Chambers held up in his route as he was covered by Cord Parks.
Shamad Chambers asked Riley about, can he take another step this year? He said actually he feels real comfortable with him. Now they were a little off on that one. I'm sure they'll talk about that on the sidelines, but they live in the same building. In fact, Shamad Chambers will come down to his quarterback's place a little bit, his condo, and say, hey, got any food in the fridge or anything like that? And they hang out. They worked out in the offseason together, trained together, trying to create some of that chemistry.
2nd and 5. Big Hill drops off. The pass for Chambers. He's drilled by March, but holds on, and it's a 1st down. And there's a sign that'll earn the confidence of a quarterback.
Well, absolutely. And that last throw that they missed on the seam route, I saw the frustration with Riley, and he you know, he's going to talk to him, but this shows that he has confidence in Shamad Chambers, because on a crucial 2nd down, went right back to him, hit him on the sideline for the 1st.
42 catches, 465 in his 2nd year. He has a pair of catches in the opening half tonight. First set of downs, and Thomas takes the handoff, bumps it outside, and is tackled at the 42-yard line. Elimimian was there, and a late flag, and it looks like it's going against 56 of the Lions.
Now, I don't think there was any intent here from Solomon Elimimian.
Major foul, face mask. BC number 56. 15-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
First of all, Mike Riley, there's Tyler Thomas. Mike Riley's going to make a block for him on this play, but Solomon Elimimian with a hard hit. I thought it was going to be helmet-to-helmet contact here, and they called it face mask because he went up high and then went and pulled Tyler Thomas back opposite direction.
Across the Lions 15, 1st down. Riley, look out, drilled. Hammered off the edge by Josh Johnson.
Well, you know, Riley's checking out here on protection assignments, and who missed? The linebacker coming off the edge. Josh Johnson steps up. Oh, it's Tyler Thomas.
And he told us a story about this yesterday.
Yes, he did.
He picked up that blitz when Riley wasn't sure in the preseason, and he said that would give him confidence in games like this, but back to square one.
And Calvin McCarty has been put in the backfield.
The loss of 7, 2nd and 17. Pressure, and now they'll call the screen, and McCarty belted after a short gain at the 35-yard line. They're fired up there as Jabbar Westerman with the tackle.
So Tyler Thomas will go to the bench and discuss protection assignments. Calvin McCarty comes in, and to try and change things up, they go to a screen to McCarty. Don't have time to really set it up because Kareem Smith is right in the face of Riley immediately.
Yeah, we've said that a couple of times already. 42-yard field goal attempt for Grant Shaw. And Shaw puts it up and through. And it's a one-point game here midway through the second quarter at BC Place Stadium. Yeah, Diakowski gets on jeopardy, but no luck for the other Ticats on the Amazing Race.
Only good on jeopardy just after the answer has been given.
Stephon Logan on the return is
Stephon Logan the return. Kevin Clayton with a one-point lead, getting last-minute instructions from Kahari Jones. The much-traveled Kevin Glenn, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, Hamilton, Calgary, and now BC.
Well, one way I think they can sort of kickstart this offense after a good first quarter is to get 33 and 10 involved again. Their twins package, or twin set they call it.
They'll fake to Logan and go to the other way. Courtney Taylor's got the catch. Both Taylors signing extensions this week for BC. We've talked about Eric, and there's Courtney Taylor, who comes in as the leading incumbent receiver on the BC Lions, was 774 last year.
Started all but one game for the Lions last year. And you're right. Beyond that, Sean Gore's got some experience. It's 5th year in the league, but
2nd and 2. Pressure off the edge again. Downfield, and the pass is incomplete. No surprise that Chris Jones is sending plenty of pressure.
Well, lots of pressure and good against the run. I mean, this was an area where they had problems last year. The Edmonton Eskimos were not able to stop the run. Easy for me to say, but you could take a look at the stats. Last in most categories defensively against the run. You knew Chris Jones was going to come into Edmonton and fix that up. BC Lions have 11 yards rushing tonight.
Pat Robertson back from his 21. Down the sideline, steps out at the 32-yard line, and that's where Mike Riley and company will go back to work with just over 6 minutes left in a good first half. And sees the Eskimos trail by a single point. Talk about rankings. The Eskimos 7th in points last year. They were a better pass team than rush team. Were last in the league in rushing touchdowns, and they were 7th in the league in sacks allowed. Protection, the issue that they were emphasizing. It was a problem on the last series. Fake to Thomas, swing it to Bowman. And Fort Parks was tracking him.
And the way Edmonton on this series to start this drive is to try and control Kareem Smith a little bit. He's been giving him all kinds of problems, so they go with a little play action to hold him at the line. See, Kareem Smith has to kind of shuffle down to take care of any run responsibilities first. That'll slow his pass rush a little bit. Riley's seen 94 in his face for most of this first half.
So no gain on the 5th catch of the evening for Darius Bowman. 2nd and 10. Thomas leaves the backfield. A pass for Chambers, and he is cut down quickly. There's Josh Johnson again, taking over from the veteran Corey Banks, making the tackle on Chambers.
Out of Purdue, Corey Banks now with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I stand by my tweet for the record, but Josh Johnson, he's made a couple plays. Came on a blitz, had a nice sack, and on a protection issue by the Edmonton Eskimos, and then makes a play on Shamot Chambers to force Edmonton to punt.
Here's Logan. Good downfield coverage by the Eskimos. 37-yard punt. We talked to the head coach about his new starting quarterback.
He's been everything I could dream of in terms of he's been a great teammate. He's intelligent. He's a 14-year vet. Great person. Always has a great positive attitude. And the most important thing is he's a winner. He could operate the offense. He has very outstanding understanding of the offense, accurate, and really just a winner. And just a guy that is resilient, too, because he's gone through a lot of things throughout his career and his life. And, you know, he's kind of got that resilient kind of guy that you want to really root for.
That one away, almost tracked down by Burnett, but it was a free play with the Eskimos offside. And he told us yesterday, Kevin Glenn, even though he's a newcomer, the veteran can let players around him know when they've made mistakes, and he's not afraid of letting guys know when they've made mistakes.
Offside. Edmonton number 45. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Well, he's been around a long time, and he knows the offense. He's worked with Kahari Jones before, and got a quick release. The only knock on Kevin Glenn throughout the last 2 years when he was a Calgary Stampeder was whether or not he could win that big game. And that's what Stampeders fans will say, but he might not be asked to here in BC.
Here's Andrew Harris. Good run straight ahead into Eskimo territory. Down to the 52-yard line for Andrew Harris as they try to establish that run game.
Might not have to. About 6 weeks. Travis Lulay be ready to practice with the team in 4 to 6 weeks, and the second half may be available. And I know Edmonton fans are saying there was another big trade this century.
Yeah,
but
that might have been the trade of the century.
That might be the trade of the century too.
12 for Harris and a first down. Back into Andrews' hands. The Winnipeg Native got another first down, tripped up from behind. Saving more damage was Eric Samuels, who takes over from TJ Hill at a linebacker spot for Edmonton.
This is a confidence cut for Andrew Harris. And what I mean by that is young running backs and running backs without this kind of confidence would hit the hole, hit the play side, and then try and make something happen from there. But Harris had so much confidence, he bent that back to the backside of the play quickly and picked up nice yards.
Stretching out a little bit after the last run with Bill Rochelle over there to make sure everything's okay. Glenn gonna air this out on Sean Gore, and he can't bring it in. Sean Gore with coverage from Joe Burnett and Aaron Grimes. Final play before the 3-minute warning here at BC Place. Jock, Matt, and Schultze will dissect what they've seen in an interesting opening half of football here on the West Coast. And the convincing win by the Calgary Stampeders in the first half of our CFL Saturday doubleheader. After the incompletion, 2nd and 10. And Glenn steps up and fires. Open man, Sean Gore. Sean Gore's stats have declined in each of the last 3 years, and there's a sense around this Lions team that he's going to get going again. And it looks like today.
This is exactly how you execute this type of pass play, this type of route, because you need a passing lane to get that curl in there. They got that. There's your passing lane. So protection is excellent by the BC Lions. Steps up by the quarterback and Kevin Glenn. That way he can keep the ball low, throw it right between the 8 and the 5.
18-yard gain. Rolly Lambala in at the fullback spot. Glenn flushed as the completion. Harris back in. Wrapped up by Rennie Curran and tossed down at the 15.
Andrew Harris has this incredible balance. I've seen him do this 3 times in the game already, and you've seen it throughout the last couple of years. Watch his wide base when he catches the ball. Comes out of the backfield here. Now he's going to get hit initially after Glenn kind of scrambles with it. Drops it off. Look at his wide base. Feet get out there, so that initial tackler is going to fall off him, keeps his base wide, keeps the balance, feels the contact, and picks up extra yards.
Interesting you mentioned that. Here's Harris again, left side, trying to get to the edge, and he'll be dragged down. Got the first down.
Rennie Curran, Georgia Bulldog going, okay, forget that base. I'm just going to go hit and see if I can knock him off that base. slow down, did he?
You talk about Harris's balance. That's the primary thing he was working on in the offseason. Talked about the focus of his workouts. Here's Logan swing pass, and that was read and snubbed. What a play by Aaron Grimes, the second-year DP. One of the fastest men in the CFL, and he closed in a hurry on Stefan Logan.
Former Idaho Vandal. From the left of your screen, he's just off the pitcher right now. He'll shoot the gap. University of Idaho has a interesting relationship with the Canadian Football League. There's a couple of great players. Ken Hobart was a former Vandal.
So was Wally Bonner.
And so was Don Matthews.
There's a pass to the flat, and is it caught? It is. What a grab by Kito Pobla. Second catch for Pobla. Got it back to the original line of scrimmage, but former Blue Bomber coming off a disappointing run with Winnipeg climbs up to get this one.
Yeah, Kevin Glenn floated that a little bit, but he did have to get up there.
Burnett tried to dislodge the football. And now Paul McCallum, who says the workload has not been very difficult with Ricky Schmidt handling the punts. Kept that 44-year-old kicking leg a lot fresher.
22 years in Canadian Football League. His first year was 1993, which means his holder, Ricky Schmidt, was 5 years old when Paul McCallum started his career in the Canadian Football League. And boy, has he been on a roll in his last 5 years. There he is on the all-time points list,
Games list.
Games list. But his last 5 years, 207 kicks, and he's made 183 of them, which is almost 89%. I mean, he's getting better with time.
2,875 points in his CFL career after that field goal. It gives the Lions a 4-point edge in the final minute, first half. Let's see what Mike Riley does. Hands it off. Thomas, little sidestep going right into the teeth of that defense. And Elimimian in behind Taylor and Mitchell. If you can run up the middle against the Lions, you're doing something.
Oh, yeah. And in fact, you got to attack that. I mean, that's going to be a strength, but make Eric Taylor and Khalif Mitchell fight run blocks rather than always just be able to move the line of scrimmage backwards. And, if I'm Coach Chris Jones right now, I'm thinking a little bit more of Tyler Thomas in the second half is going to help this offense.
Let the clock run here. 2nd and 3. And they'll hand it off again to Thomas for the 45 for a first down. But I wonder about the strategy of letting the clock run here.
Chris Jones, they're going to measure this. Take a look exactly to make sure they get the correct spot of the ball. You're on the road, down by 4 in BC.
25 yards away from Crenshaw field goal range. Time for a couple of plays, but there's a problem here now because it's 3rd down and you need to make sure you move the chains. And Pat White and the short yardage crew comes on. White, highly touted out of West Virginia.
Well, we'll test that front 4 for the BC Lions right now, and this is going to be a good little matchup because if they can reestablish the line of scrimmage and hold them here, a shot at a field goal before the half.
What a resume this guy has.
Well, they could run out.
They're just going to let the run out. So that started with 43 seconds to go. They are content to run the clock out in this first half.
Didn't get it anyway, I don't think.
Good first half. It started with the BC Lions scoring on their opening possession with Andrew Harris. It was Calvin McCarty for the Eskimos. T-Dre Blair, an unlikely touchdown recipient And it's BC 17-13 at the half.
All right, Chris, back inside our CFL on TSN studio, joined by the coach, Paul Lapalisse, and the GMC coaches playbook, too. And, Paul, one of the things the Eskimos wanted to get right this year is put less pressure on Mike Riley, who was sacked a whole bunch, 60 times last season. That's easier said than done against this BC team.
Yeah, and I like what they did to start out. They got to Darius Bowman a couple of catches early on, quick balls. He's got 6 catches already, but easy throws to him out in the flat. Watch this pass. He gets the ball in his hands. Not a lot of time. He can get the ball and run upfield, get an easy first down. Where they had trouble, and BC's done a great job with their pressure package, is they've been able to do some blitzes. Kareem Smith has got 2 nice blitzes where they brought the rush. You're going to see this right here. You call this, you bring 2 people inside, and Kareem Smith comes around the horn. Now as he comes back around this edge, you're trying to make sure you can free him up, and watch what happens. The right guard here steps too far inside. He's got to know when people go away from you, somebody's coming to you. Doesn't recognize that, allows him to get a free rein on the quarterback. So a nice job of scheme by the BC defensive coaching staff. Here's one where Kareem just beats him with speed, wins, and gets a shot on the quarterback. So I like the fact that they're in a position, Rod, where they get an opportunity to get the ball out of their hands quicker. If they can do that, it's going to help their cause later in the game.
Yeah, it is. But 3 sacks and a lot of pressure put on Mike Riley so far in this game, and a close one after 30 minutes. Well, coming up next, we'll talk more about the pass interference challenge rule coming in. Kate McKenna will be by talking about that with Jock Climbing. The CFL on TSN. It is BC leading at the half by 4 of the Eskimos. The 6-game injured list, he can't play, he can't practice, but he can still help. Talking to the other QBs at the half of the Lions.
Here in Vancouver. And it's going to be an interesting one. Saw some good things from both quarterbacks, Mike Riley and Kevin Glenn.
His favorite target was Darius Bowman, but he did move the ball a little bit with his legs. A couple of runs in the first quarter for 10 yards apiece. And number 4 had 6 catches. The guy he hasn't gone to that much in that first half was Fred Stamps. Just 1 catch for his star receiver, Calvin McCarty, with a touchdown. Kevin Glenn also did some good things for the BC Lions. He had a deep ball to Ernest Jackson. Has a touchdown to his left guard, TJ Player. Distributed the ball to a lot of different targets. And you know, both quarterbacks took some hits in that first half as well.
Kevin Glenn 10 of 13, 163 yards and a couple of touchdown passes. Mike Riley 12 for 18, 106. And the difference in the first half might have been that goal line stand by the BC Lions when the Eskimos got down to the 2, but had to settle for 3. Ricky Schmidt to kick off to start this second half, and again it's Patrick Robertson back from his 12-yard line. Jamal Johnson giving chase, and Johnson is able to make the tackle with the flag at the 32-yard line. Jamal back with the Lions after a stint with Hamilton.
See what this flag is. Opening kickoff. They're talking to the BC captain, so Mike Riley will have a little bit longer field to work with, it looks like.
Riley with his first half totals over 5,000 yards passing now in his CFL career. Alessi giving the options.
Well, and now they want Riley in there to get some options, so perhaps there were more than one penalty.
Maybe the option of taking the ball or another kickoff. Let's find out.
Interesting that at halftime, Kate and Jock talked about speeding
Offside.
up the game.
BC number 28. Holding Edmonton 27. We'll balance the penalties at the previous kickoff line and re-kick.
So we're going to kick it all over again, but he talked about, just speeding up the process, and when it came to that new rule and pass interference, There is some concern that it'll make the games longer. I don't think it will. There's no difference in the amount of challenges you get, and the challenges in general have to be, treated with a little more urgency, and maybe we can speed that up as the season goes on. But that's when you're talking about every single challenge and all the reviews, not just the new one in pass interference. So we'll kick this baby all over again.
Jamal Johnson was offside, and the newcomer for the Eskimos, Mike Dubuisson, was called on the hold. So from the 40-yard line, Schmidt will do it all over again. And Robertson from his 2. And a better return. Up over the 35-yard line, had a big hill there to shut it down at that point.
All right, here we go. And the Edmonton Eskimos in the first half offensively. We talked about them doing some good things. Riley used the Darius Bowman. He was the #1 target with 6 catches, 47 yards. There's Riley's numbers. And if they're going to do anything, maybe a more steady diet to Tyler Thomas, the new running back. Did some good and some bad. Had just 4 carries. Missed a couple of blocks that we saw. Got hit. Riley hit on one particular blitz from Josh Johnson.
Start at the 36. Give the ball to Thomas inside. And he spins off the first contact to the 40 and has 4.
Initial impressions of Tyler Thomas. I like his feet. And what I mean by he's got a quick change of direction. Can dance in the hole. Generally speaking, you want to hit those holes, but he can do it while moving forward.
Chris Jones says he's a good receiver. In fact, when he first saw him, he was reminded of Terry Vaughn and was thinking about maybe a slot back. Vaughn was a former running back who became one of the best receivers in CFL history. 2nd and 6. Riley over the middle, wanted Stamps, and Ryan Phillips was there in tight coverage.
If there was a concern, and we haven't seen him catch the ball much, Tyler Thomas out of the backfield, but there was a concern in the first half for Chris Jones. It would have been in his protection, and it looked to me like on that play, even though it wasn't complete, Thomas stepped in, picked up the blitzing Solomon Elamimian, and had the right assignment when it came to protection.
So Grant Shaw to kick to Stefan Logan, who they have contained so far, but that's a 60-minute job. And here's Logan. Oh, he gets hit hard there. Nathan Kanya downfield, and that cover team has done well here. 41-yard punt, 4 on the return. Andrew Harris gets set to go back to work for the Lions on offense when we return. Mentioned a couple of contract extensions for the Lions in the first half. More contract news here again, Farhan.
Yeah, Kevin Glenn, who is now going to be the Lions starter for at least the next 6 weeks, has had his contract restructured. Now, he had a heavily incentive-based contract, which he signed previously in Calgary, which then was extended into Ottawa and now here in BC. But because he's certainly going to be the Lions starter, the Lions have guaranteed him a certain portion of that contract up front. They've also announced a 2-year extension to Solomon Elamimian. So BC's got the heart and soul of their defense, Elamimian and Big Hill, in the fold for at least the next couple of years.
Andrew Harris ducked down low and up to the 37-yard line.
Well, that's the right thing to do by Wally Buono when it came to Kevin Glenn. I mean, this is a guy who is 10th all-time in the Canadian Football League. People don't even realize that he's climbed up the ladder in the overall numbers. And in those 6 weeks, if in fact he starts all 6, will pass Tracy Ham into 9th spot.
Coming off a year where he was 66.6% efficient, the second best of his 14-year career. 2nd down, and that pass knocked down was intended for Corey Williams, but never arrived. And big Dexter McCoyle, 6'4", 222, got a mitt on the football.
Well, that's why Chris Jones loves this guy, because he's a big Patrick Watkin fan, Jones is, and this is the same sort of body type. Both former safeties, and this time McCoyle recognizes it, gets up there. He's 6'4".
Played a little boundary corner too, like Watkins and they've been able to move him all over the place. Be a little Eskimo confusion, and nobody was back. And a flag down as they contact the kicker. Corbin Sharoon came close to the block.
Ricky Schmidt's pass is...
This will be BC football. The Edmonton Eskimos get a roughing the kicker call here. The leg of Ricky Schmidt was extended when Corbin Sharoon ran right through it.
Contacting the kicker, Edmonton number 39. 10-yard penalty, first down.
And was that the old Don Matthews play? Pretend that you don't have a guy back, but stack it up with 12 on the line?
Yeah, exactly.
Or was there just confusion there?
Well, yeah, you stack them up on the line, and then you have one person recover over there just to pick up the loose ball. Remember, you have to give 5 yards anyway, and the pressure comes from the Edmonton left side of the formation. Watch the contact. Schmidt's legs in the air, and there's right through it.
That gives the Lions a fresh set of downs. Harris into the backfield. Cut down by Joe Burnett at the 48. And so not much there for Harris, maybe a yard.
Good tackle by Joe Burnett. A guy that was really pushed in training camp in Edmonton. A couple of players in there that Chris Jones liked and was looking at that corner spot. Robert Sands being one of them who's on the roster right now, but Burnett held off the competition.
2nd and 9. Glenn with time shoots it over the middle, incomplete. Courtney Taylor, the intended target. But Ricky Schmidt will have to come back onto the field.
Talked to Mike Benavides in training camp about the acquisition as free agent of Ricky Schmidt from Saskatchewan. He says he really believes that his directional punting, the airtime he puts on it, he's got a big leg. He was a big reason that the Riders were the best, if not the best, covered team in the league.
This one not deep, and Robertson at the 25 sidesteps the first wave and the second, but then is wrestled down. Rolly Labala closes him out after a 37-yard punt. One of the newcomers to the TSN top 50, but a pretty impressive resume for Rennie Curran, the new middle linebacker in Edmonton.
Well, he's directing traffic back there right now for the Edmonton Eskimos. You remember that play by Dexter McCoyle where he knocked the ball into the air from Kevin Glenn? Watch how Rennie Curran will just say, no, get back over the other side. You're on the other side. He goes over, he gets him lined up right, and he's right in that throwing lane.
Tyler Thomas trying to kick it out to the left side, and at the 33-yard line has 4 yards.
I asked Rennie Curran yesterday about his training camp with Chris Jones. He said, man, it was up-tempo. It was intense. He went to the Tennessee Titans training camp with Jeff Fisher. Of course, last year with Cavis Reed. I said, what was the difference? He said, well, it was as tense of any camp I've ever been, including when he was the Georgia Bulldog.
Second and 6 for Riley and the Eskimos with 4 receivers to the near side. That's where the ball comes to Bowman, trying to get to the edge, lowers the shoulder, and drives for the first down. Good play by Darius Bowman to reach the 40 and move the sticks.
Oh, added to his totals, he's going to get to 10. Little hit screen here to get Fred Stamps and Bowman on the same side. Stamps goes up and blocks, and it's his teammate. Nice first down.
Receiver package. Thomas stays in the block. Kuhorn's got the catch. And quickly wrestled down by the newcomer on the corner, Ronnie Yell. 7 for Kuhorn, who will be thinking about that touchdown drop in the opening half when he got in behind Ronnie Yell and didn't have a touchdown last year.
We talked about it on Thursday in Winnipeg, but Canadian receiver in his 4th year. It's time for Nate Kuhorn.
646 yards on 49 catches last year, so on the cusp of being a very good Canadian Football League receiver. 2nd and 3. A little pressure coming off. It's tipped and picked, and out of Big Hill is tackled by Mike Riley, which may have saved the touchdown, but it's a big turnover for Big Hill and the Lions.
Blitz pressure coming from the secondary. Mark Washington dials up a halfback blitz, and he's outside. You're not going to see him off the screen, but trust me, he's coming. Number 26 from the right side of your screen, and he times his jump on this outlet from Mike Riley. Riley sees the blitz coming. He knows he's got to throw it before the pressure gets there, but nice timing by Cord Parks. Knocks it in the air, and Big Hill gets it.
Big Hill denied that fumble recovery touchdown in the first half. Has an interception here. Harris gets stuffed. There's a guy that's become the face of one of the faces of the Lions in very short order.
Well, his numbers over the last two seasons, and think of 18 sacks over the last 2 years. 196 tackles over that time. Missed a couple of games due to injury last year.
2nd and 8. Glenn with time has Williams down to the 24-yard line, and that will be a first down BC. 9-yard pickup.
If there was a concern for the Lions coming out of training camp, it was how would this offensive line play? Now, Glenn gets this out of there pretty quick. That was a two-step drop from the shotgun and released it in a hurry, but so Lions holding up pretty well. Odell Willis. We haven't talked about Marcus Howard at all tonight.
9 for Williams, who had a couple of games with the Lions last year. Glenn on a roll. Sideline pass is caught. There's Sean Gore working against Joe Burnett, and it's a 12-yard pickup and another BC first down.
Receivers can really work this route when you know your quarterback's on the full roll. So right now, Sean Gore knows I can work it. I can make a couple of moves if I want. I can push Joe Burnett deep, which he does, a couple of extra steps, and then work back to the football, knowing his quarterback's taking his time to get outside on that full roll.
Third catch, 43 yards for Gore, who 3 years ago had over 800 yards receiving. Glenn looking for Courtney Taylor and a couple of defenders, including Pat Watkins there defensively for Edmonton.
Yeah, full blitz from Edmonton. Watkins looked back and didn't have a man, so he just falls off. See, he's right here, and he says, well, if my man's going to block, I'm going to fall underneath and help out on this deep seam route. Number 9 to the right of your screen, he waits. He says, okay, I don't have a man to cover. Now, if he locates the football, that's a turnover.
So 2nd and 10 for Glenn and the Lions at the Edmonton 12-yard line. Glenn rolls right side, throws back across, and here Grimes has picked it off. He stepped in front of Gore and takes it away. The Eskimos get it back. One interception last year for Grimes and one in the opener here up against Sean Gore.
Last year, then was injured, missed 10 games, but Cavis Reed, the head coach at the time, told us that he was the fastest guy on the team last year, and he, in that trail position, shows you his closing speed. Sean Gore had about a 2-yard lead there, and Grimes made it up in a hurry. Now, Tyler Thomas this year may give him a race, but he's still got that speed.
So the teams trade turnovers on their last 2 possessions. No damage done into the hands of Thomas, and stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Westerman in on the tackle.
Still have to do that. You know, the Edmonton offense still has to go ahead and try and slam it in there a couple of times and keep the D-line honest for the BC Lions. Even though it's not productive this time, you don't want to be in 2nd and long, but you still have to keep them honest, or else they'll pin their ears back, and then it's a real long night.
Second and 10. Riley hit as he delivers, and he overthrows Darius Bowman. 3 Lions in the area, and it's 2 and out for Edmonton.
Tyler Thomas picks up the blitzing Solomon Elamimian and gives Mike Riley a chance to get the ball out of the pocket, but he just doesn't have a receiver that's reacting. Here comes the blitz from Solomon Elamimian, and Tyler Thomas in this second half has not made a mistake in protection. That gives Riley enough time to throw it, but he had a communication issue with Darius Bowman.
Shaw the boot. And it will be Logan, slips at the 45, and the Eskimos are downfield again. That cover team for Craig Dickinson's done the job so far in this opener. Once again this year, our sack tally is brought to you by Purolator, tackling hunger across Canada. Check.
3-2 Edmonton in sacks in this game, and when you think that Mike Riley's at 200, and actually Kevin Glenn surprisingly is at 200. I checked the bio twice there. Times 5 sacks, that's 1,000 pounds added to the total so far.
Mike Riley added 20 pounds, but not for the Purolator sack tally.
No, that's not what he had in mind.
A couple of interceptions for Kevin Glenn in this game. That was his game high last year on a couple of occasions, including once. There's a direct snap to Andrew Harris, and it doesn't fool the Chris Jones defense. I'm going to say that Kevin Glenn was picked off twice in a game against Toronto and Chris Jones last year, also twice against his old team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. One of his old teams, as I've been reminded.
Yes.
5 old teams, and you know what's interesting for Kevin Glenn, he was also property of Ottawa this year, and briefly he was property of the Toronto Argonauts in the midst of a trade. So he's done 7 of 9 teams. Only Montreal and Edmonton have never had him signed up. Good time there. There's a third interception. Dexter McCoyle brought it down. There is a flag as McCoyle is brought down by Ernest Jackson. Well, we've talked about McCoyle. He had a knockdown earlier in this third quarter, and now an interception pending this call.
Holding. BC number 69. That penalty be declined. First down.
Andre Ramsey, the left tackle, called on the hold, so the interception by McCoyle will stand. And my partner told me prior to the game, number 45, the newcomer, is probably going to have an interception today. A little clairvoyance.
You know, I looked at his bio. I looked at 18 interceptions at his time in Tulsa. And that's a lot of interceptions for a college career. Former safety, undrafted and walked on with Oakland. That didn't work out for him, but I went and looked at some of his draft year, some of the draft sites, and the discussion and articles written about Dexter McCoyle, and everyone was sort of astounded as to why, number 1, he wasn't drafted, number 2, that there wasn't more buzz about him, that he had such a great college career at Tulsa, and he's just that size and speed at 6'4", 222.
Remember Paul Randolph, the linebacker
Yes.
from Winnipeg? He's the guy that told Chris Jones, take a look at Dexter McCoyle. And McCoyle had a preseason pick against BC. 6 tackles last week, and we're talking about him again today as he replaces this week at least the injured J.C. Sherritt.
What's that?
So Mike Riley and the Eskimos take over at the Lion 40. And it's Thomas into the backfield trying to change directions. And he is punished. Adam Bighill with the tackle, and then Bazzi, the defensive end, comes in to finish him off.
There's been a few series where, while even if the Edmonton offense is generating a couple first downs, they're paying full retail price for them because they're taking some big hits from Elamimian and Big Hill and a pursuing BC Lion defense.
4 for Thomas. First catch for Tyler Thomas on the day. 2nd and 6. They just get it off. Riley rolls, and he'll take off, and second effort still won't be enough. No flags. I was looking for one.
I was going to say,
Was there a hold there that, or a tackle that went undetected?
Thaddeus Coleman got away with one here.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was just because it was so obvious, blatant, and obviously the official looking the other way, but watch this, just a big club.
So Grant Shaw, the field goal unit comes on. Two and out after the interception, but can the Eskimos generate points off another turnover? He's made from 14 and 42 so far. Grant Shaw, shovel it ahead, and McCarty, does he have enough? Across the 30, and it's a first down for Edmonton.
Design play, well executed. Matt Nichols, a little under shovel pass to Calvin McCarty coming underneath and in positive side of the field and short yardage. And you need about 3 to get the first. A little tap, toss, and you don't have to get much. That's a great call by Chris Jones.
Chris Jones used to work for Don Matthews and learned a trick or two along the way, didn't he?
No question.
Shades of the Don. Puts that offense back on the field. First down at the 29. Big to Thomas. Bowman reached back and couldn't grab it. It'll be 2nd and 10. Seen a lot of good things here, Suits. We have not seen much of Fred Stamps.
No, we haven't, and they're moving him around, and maybe it's just about Mike Riley getting used to him. There's Stamps at the wide field again. Now, if you're going to double him, it's hard to get out to him if you want to double with the linebacker if you place him there, but you know, maybe Riley's just trying to get used to finding Stamps in different spots. He's going back to that short side, and right now, Darius Bowman's there as much as Stamps is.
One catch, 23 yards. He lines to the wide side. On 2nd and 10 with a flag down, they go to the near side. Bowman climbed there as he was dueling with Dante Marsh. And we have a couple of flags down on the play.
There was a bump from Dante Marsh about 10 yards down the field on Bowman, but there was one flag out prior to that one. So even Ryan Phillips, who is a team captain, is trying to get close enough to hear what this one could be as they discuss the multiple flags. I've counted 3 now.
Yeah, it looked like 2 were on the same duel between Bowman and Marsh.
We have 3 fouls on the play. We have offside, Edmonton. We have illegal contact, BC, that'll be declined. And we have an accidental pass interference on BC. We're going to balance those penalties at the previous line of scrimmage. We're going to go up 5, and it'll be 2nd down.
So 3 penalties and 5 yards, the difference. Couple of vets in that secondary for the Lions. Ryan Phillips playing his 163rd consecutive game, and Dante Marsh in game number 170 of a distinguished career.
He got her feet tangled up. That was the accidental pass interference.
No, 2nd and 5. With the catch, and he is tossed down by Ronnie Yell at the 18-yard line. It's a first down for Edmonton. Coolhorn had one 100-yard game last year, and it was against the Lions. Moves the chains with that catch.
Well, year 1, he was a backup, had 29 yards, just a couple catches that year. But year 2 is when he started to establish himself, had just shy of 600, over 600 in year 3. Expect big things from Nate Coolhorn.
Eskimos threatening. Final minute, 3rd quarter. 1st and 10 from the 17. Riley up once. Now under duress. Into the end zone for Thomas. And he spun around and couldn't track the ball with Adam Bighill there defensively.
Well, he had to blind turn a couple of times to get there. I mean, just trying to find it is exactly the right description, Chris. He gets the wave from Mike Riley here to go ahead and go deep. And he just gives him a point. He takes off. Now watch him. He looks inside shoulder. No, it's not there. It's back to the outside shoulder. He just can't react in time.
Pretty good matchup between the speedy Thomas and Adam Bighill. Final play, third quarter. 2nd and 10. Riley looking into the corner, wide open. Stamps, touchdown. Well, there he is. It took 3 quarters to find him for pay dirt, but Fred Stamps has a touchdown, and the Edmonton Eskimos have the lead.
Well, Mike Riley finally decided, look, I'm having problems tracking where you are in our offense, so let's go into a bunch formation. I keep you guys all together. One of you will spring free, and this time it is the perennial all-star.
Career high 11 touchdown catches for Stamps last year. First this season is number 48 in his career. And the Edmonton Eskimos have their first lead of the day. Another look as Mike Riley makes the connection he made so often last year. Fred Stamps for a go-ahead major. The Eskimos take the lead, and they have 14 points off turnover.
Interesting chess match going on right here, and a good football game as they make adjustments on the fly. We talked about how Mike Riley was having problems finding Fred Stamps in the offense, and now maybe this bunch formation is the way to do it. Nice touchdown there by Edmonton.
It's curious to see Chris Jones on the sidelines trying to follow what we saw from Mike O'Shea in his head coaching debut. And we got one indication there, the gamble on third down to fake the field goal to keep the drive alive, and it turns out to be a great decision.
A great time to call it, too, when you're in BC's end and it's only a few yards to get to that first down marker. That's the perfect time to call the fake. BC Lions will have to remind their return team guys to be alert for that.
And now they'll short kick it, and wide open there. Watkins, did he stay in bounds? He does, and the Edmonton Eskimos have it. And there's another play out of the old Matthews playbook. Wow.
Yep. And perfectly executed on the kick, because, you know, the gamble here is that you don't make that 10 yards in the execution of the actual kick, or it's too deep. And if it gets too deep, then the Lions can react to it. But Chris Jones gets the perfect onside kick from Grant Shaw, just wheels around. It goes to about 11 yards, and Watkins catches it inbounds.
Have to keep a foot in there. See what Riley does with that. He'll pull it down and take off, and a feet first slide at midfield will be close to 9 yards.
No BC Lion really in sight, just to the right of your screen. And Watkins, how about that catch to keep both feet in bounds? You only need one, but he kept that right toe inside and inbounds, secured the catch, and surprised the BC Lions.
So they quote an old theme living on the edge here in Edmonton. Here in the fourth quarter with the lead in the football, and McCarty is brought down short of the first down. Tackle there by Westerman.
Let's look back at that touchdown, Chris, and number 3 in this bunch formation is the guy who's going to catch it, Fred Stamps. Looks like to me that the Lions may have tried to drop back in a little bit of a zone. You see Dante March, the corner, he drops his man, which is Stamps. Not his man, but lets Stamps go by him because that's not his zone. He just doesn't have a deep defender behind him. That's why Fred Stamps is wide open. But maybe the bunch formation is the key for Edmonton to get him the ball a little more.
Third and just over a yard, and there was a hesitation on the Edmonton sidelines. And based on what we've seen in the last minute or two, do they throw out of this or not? No. Bradshaw will boot it. Tries to sell on contact on the kicker. As the ball sails out of bounds. Shaw wonders why there wasn't a flag at the other end, and Chris Jones is upset about that too. So the punt didn't get inside the 20. So it's an illegal kick. Let's take a look at why Shaw was upset. No call on this play.
Well, let's take a look if he was roughed. I mean, leg in the air.
Sliding in was Kareem Smith.
Illegal punt out of bounds. Edmonton number 11. 10-yard penalty, first down.
So BC will have the football early fourth quarter. They trail by 3 when we come back. 3 meetings last year, 43-29, 31-21, 17-3. They've won 5 consecutive games against Edmonton, but Edmonton, one of only 2 teams to win here since the building was refurbished. Stefan Logan trying to get something going, and he gets collared by Ramasian. But a quiet game for Stefan Logan, who looked like he was going to light it up based on the preseason and his late return to the Lions last year.
Seen him in the return game. Not a lot on offense. It's a couple of carries. Andrew Harris has carried the bulk of the mail for the Lions offensively, but they started with that twin set with both of them in the backfield.
7 for Logan, 2nd and 3. Harris, the ball carrier. Trying to get to the first down stick and not get there. Andrew Harris denied.
He'll be a couple of yards short. Lions have the punt here.
Mike Benavides did not waste any time sending the punt unit out on 3rd and at least 2. So Ricky Schmidt will kick to Patrick Robertson. Snags that at the 28 and will step up around the 35-yard line. A touchdown by Fred Stamps on the final play of the 3rd quarter has given the Edmonton Eskimos the lead with just over 12 minutes to go.
Offensively, to show you how they move Stamps around to the wide field. You see from that inside hash all the way to the sideline. That's the wide side of the field. That's a 3-man formation, or trips they call it. He runs the corner on this one and then put him into the short side. Obviously not as much room from the hash to the sideline. He runs the dig here and then the bunch on the touchdown. So a couple of ways that Edmonton moving him around.
Riley delivers a completion, and there's the first catch of the game for A.J. Guyton out of Central Florida. Newcomer to this attack.
But this will bode well as the season goes on. And even though there's that 1 touchdown catch for Stamps, and I know I may be laboring the point a little bit, but a healthy and strong Adarius Bowman with Stamps and mixing it up multiple formations. And now we're talking about how do you double or who do you double when you need to really shut down a receiver.
2nd and less than 1, the short yardage team, and Pat White in, and White will spin forward and get the first down after initially looking like he got stuffed.
So I like this. I think Edmonton is going to have some success as the year goes on. As Stephen McAdoo, the offensive coordinator, with these multiple formations. Now you think about, we talked about Nate Kuhorn and Shamad Chambers on the outside. They emerge and get to around the 700 mark. Boy, watch out.
And they have that potential. Fresh set of downs, Riley back in. Has time and delivers underneath, and Darius Bowman breaks a tackle. Got away and into Lion territory. Finally pushed out by Josh Johnson. But what is it about playing the BC Lions for number 4? 17 yards more for Adarius Bowman.
You know, Mike Riley is 0 for 3 against BC since the trade, but he's put up some big numbers here, including the last game, over 300 yards. He wanted to go deep on that play, ended up checking it down really to Darius Bowman, but moves the chains.
Bowman only 9 games last year, coming off the 9-game DL, and still had almost 700 yards receiving. Lions showing blitz, swinging it out to that far side, but the play is stopped. Guyton with the catch, but Tom Valesi halts play.
Big Tony Washington.
Procedure, Edmonton number 65. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
They're going to call Simeon Rotier, who's moved to left guard from the right side this year.
Yeah, and I looked at Tony Washington, Chris, and saw him kind of point to the defense, hoping he could sway the officials, but Rotier had a good camp. Very good camp.
The first and 15 from the BC 52. Short drop. There's Chambers inside. And Chambers' forward progress will be close to a first down.
Yeah, you know, that shows me that Shimon Chambers playing with confidence, because that's a strong run after the catch. That was first and real long after the procedure penalty. So the goal here, I think, for Riley was just to, pick up good yardage, maybe get halfway there, and on second down convert. But a confident Shimon Chambers picks up good yards after the catch.
And as you mentioned earlier, he's confident when he knocks on the quarterback's door because he knows that the quarterback will have a well-stocked fridge.
Yeah, so, exactly. And probably a nice big screen HD TV, and he just settles in. I think Riley even said, I think I got furniture, and he doesn't. So he spends a lot of time at my place. And that's a smart receiver.
Yeah, he's in his third year now.
He knows how it works now.
Comes up just short of the first down. And Pat White back in. See if they got something other than a sneak on. Nope, they'll just stick to that. Elevimian wraps him and tosses him back. Forward progress should be enough for a first down.
Yeah, I know what you were going at there with. Let's see if there's something going on. I mean, Chris Jones has clearly taken that page out of Don Matthews' playbook. And obviously an enormous influence on Jones. A couple of fakes in the special teams. Don't be surprised to see it. It not only surprises the team you're playing early in the year, but this creates now every team playing Edmonton will have to spend extra time studying and preparing for trick plays.
Mike Riley's 3 for 3 on this drive. Looking for more. Looking for Bowman. He's got him. Touchdown. In behind Cord Parks as the Eskimos expand the lead. It's a 35-yard touchdown strike.
Wow, and Darius Bowman, he just flat out wide open, just runs by Cord Parks. I mean, this is about an accurate throw, but a throw to a receiver that just put it in another gear. I mean, Cord Parks was even, and then guess what happened? Bowman was leaving.
I heard that on a hockey show this year. 9th catch, 106 for Bowman, and a touchdown that gives the Eskimos a 10-point lead. Darius Bowman and the Eskimos have plans to take one here today. Let's see if Stephen Logan and the Lions can regain some momentum. Good return up beyond the 45 for Logan, but they're down by 10 thanks to a Darius Bowman.
Let's show you. Bowman, Parks. Go ahead and run it. He's even. And when you're even, you're leaving. If you got that kind of speed.
So now the pressure on Kevin Glenn and the Lions. Down by more than a score. Pressure on, and down he goes. Kevin Glenn's been dropped for the 4th time today. Eddie Steele, Armando Sewell, the two defensive tackles, applying the pressure. Eskimos without Ted Laurent this year, but Eddie Steele's had a big game.
Interception, those two interior defensive linemen getting it done. Look at that bull rush by Sewell.
And it will be the sack for the all CFL defensive tackle, Armando Sewell. Glenn, did he get a knee down? Gets up and then gets dropped again by Sewell. So the Eskimos bringing the heat.
Well, and Marcus Howard was the first guy. Sewell's going to get this, but Marcus Howard, watch him come out of the cannon here. 2-point stance, unblocked. Andre Ramsey just watched him go by.
So another 2 and out. And Schmidt will have to punt it away. Midway through this fourth quarter. Bouncing down to Robertson at his 30. And racing for the edge. And Robertson still on his feet. And Rooney stepped out at the 50-yard line. But a good return for Patrick Robertson.
Chris Jones another 7:32 before he can put his first win in the books, and a couple of trick plays out of his playbook in the team's fake field goal. Back that up with an onside kick to surprise the Lions. Executed perfectly.
Mike Riley, last possession, 4 for 4, 76 yards, and then 35-yard touchdown strike. Fakes to Thomas, rolls back into Bowman's hands. He drops it. Riley flying in there to try and recover it, but Bowman gets it back. But the quarterback charged in there, hungry for that football to make sure they didn't give it away.
You know, Mike Riley wants to try and get his win-loss record to 500. He's going to have to chip away on a team that struggled last year. He had a good season, but his overall record, this is his 21st start. His overall record as a starter is 5-15. You could see how hungry he is to start to get that, move that closer to 500 and then get in the plus territory.
Had a funny comment yesterday about playing for a defensive coach, and he said
the ruling on the previous play is incomplete pass. Second down.
Oh, so they're going to rule no catch for Bowman. He said, when we do well in practice, he said all the coaches are upset because they're defensive guys. But right now, well, I don't think anybody on that sideline's upset about anything, but they've got 7 minutes or just under 7 minutes more work to do here.
Which is a long, long time in the Canadian Football League, as you know. But this has been a very solid second half, very good second half for the Edmonton Eskimos.
2nd and 10 at the 51. Time for Riley over the middle, flag down. Bowman has another catch, which would be his 10th of the game.
Except for that
flag is.
Yeah, except for that Eric Taylor was lying on the ground and then talking to Riley and pointing to the official and say, I think the guy who was trying to block me might be called here.
And the Eskimos are walking backwards.
Tripping. Edmonton number 65. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Not a call you hear very often.
Yeah, let's take a look at that, because Taylor, of course, on the interior of that D-line, Rotier is playing left guard. 79 up the field, jams him, and then trips him with his arm.
Second down and 20. Riley hit as he delivers, and Chambers can't make the catch. Would have been a first down, Edmonton, just off his fingertips.
Yeah, just a little bit outside, but that was a tough throw to execute for Riley. He had a guy in his face. Just take a look at this D line, this side of it. Eric Taylor, Alex Bazzi, good push. Khalif Mitchell up the middle. There's not a big window at the other end of that play.
Hunt to Logan from his 23, and Gets through the first wave up to the 35-yard line. Mike Miller among the tacklers along with Corbin Sharoon for Edmonton, and Kevin Glenn has 5:40 on the clock, and he needs at least to score to cut into this 10-point Edmonton lead.
Yeah, and score either way in this drive. You don't have to force things for a major here. Kahari Jones just needs to get field goal range, get Paul McCallum on the field before they get to that 3-minute warning, ideally.
Glenn from the pocket, little sidearm toss, it's complete, and Courtney Taylor's got a catch up to the 43. So 7 for Taylor.
A couple years ago, they lose G. Simon. Well, Manny Arsenal's not here. I know there was a question coming into this game about the experience or lack thereof for the receiving corps for the BC Lions. Ernest Jackson is just in his 3rd year, his limited time playing.
Nick Moore's in Winnipeg.
That's right.
2nd and 3, they empty it out. Quick hitter is caught, and there is Williams, Corey Williams with the catch. Coach talked about his big playability yesterday, and that's a catch of 21 yards into Edmonton territory that they badly needed. And an injury here as Courtney Taylor has been shaken up.
Working together, there's the guy who caught the pass in Corey Williams. Courtney Taylor is right beside him on the inside. He gets jammed. Oh, he just gets hit hard there by Aaron Grimes. But yeah, Mike Benavides mentioned Williams and his big playability. He's just got to play with as much maturity as he can. He's got to play beyond his years in that regard because he's only in his 2nd in the CFL. They're going to need to lean on him, especially in crucial situations like this and like they did on that last play.
Lions in Montreal next week, and then at Mosaic against Saskatchewan. Eskimos home opener on July 4th against Hamilton, and then they'll play the Ottawa Redblacks. But right now, this game in the balance, a 10-point Edmonton lead.
First down away from field goal range.
Ernest Jackson back in. First down 46, and it's Harris straight ahead, and he may have a couple. Not going to say this is crucial, but based on the last 5 years, this is how big it might be for Edmonton. When they've lost the season opener in 2010 and 2013, they didn't make the playoffs. When they won the home or season opener in 09, 11, and 12, they made the playoffs.
Okay.
Right now, this play a lot bigger than that stat. 2nd and long, and they screen it. Harris brings it down. Clutch catch. But he will be kept short of the first down. And at the 38, 39-yard line, it will test the leg of the 44-year-old Paul McCallum in all likelihood.
Yeah, this is an interesting decision by Mike Benavides. He wants to know exactly how far they got, and they are going to send McCallum out there.
3rd and a full 2 and maybe a little bit more.
It was a great catch by Andrew Harris, but because he had to stretch out to get it, the timing on that play off a little bit, not able to get that extra 3 yards they needed. So this will push the limit and the range for Paul McCallum.
It will come from 46 yards out. His longest last year was 47. Did tell us the leg is fresh. Trying to get within a converted touchdown, and Paul McCallum has plenty of room. Clutch kick. And now a 7-point Edmonton lead. Wimbledon 2014.
We're very interested to see, especially on first downs in this drive. Now it's a 7-point game. The Edmonton Eskimos still have control of it just before the 3-minute warning. And a long drive here eats up all the time they can, and then finish even with the field goal, get that 3 points back is how you finish games. That means a lot of Tyler Thomas. They can go to him, especially on first down, but let's see if they do.
Start double tight end formation. One step and then to Kuhorn at the 40. There's 5 for Nate Kuhorn, the Medicine Hat native. right at the 3-minute warning here. Got a good finish coming up at BC Place Stadium. The Eskimos by 7. 9 yards, receiving the last time he played the Lions. 10 catches today, and a go-ahead touchdown for Darius Bowman.
Big play here. Do they go back to him?
Second and 4. They'll hand it off to Thomas. And at the 43-yard line, he won't have enough. Should just check it. Bowman's 10th catch called back on a penalty, so 9 catches.
And you know, that last play, Mike Riley wanted to run that ride and decide play, and he took a long look at that hole, and I think it just disrupted the timing of the play a little bit. And then he finally, after about a second or two too long, did give it to Tyler Thomas, but didn't give him enough time to hit that hole.
About Pat White, part of the protection team here for the Eskimos. A booming boot. Logan at his 20, trying to slip outside, reverses field.
That's
got a block. And great shot. Grimes will bring him down when it looked like Logan was really going to bust it. Aaron Grimes has had a good day for Edmonton.
Oh, is he ever?
But an 18-yard return for Logan.
He's bringing it. Aaron Grimes missed 10 games. He's been chomping at the bit to get back out there on the field. And Stephon Logan runs about 40 yards just to pick up a few, but watch the hit at the end. Pop.
Said Logan was the best player by far in Lions camp, but that Eskimo team has been able to contain him so far. Now Glenn underneath. Harris, good grab, and he's going to pull away. Andrew Harris down to the 45-yard line and finally gained tackled at the 40.
Rennie Curran got in trouble trying to play the ball, and it was a split-second decision that he had to make. First of all, great recognition by Curran to find Harris. He's right here. Harris is going to come all the way from the opposite side. Now, Curran does pick him up, but a split-second decision, and he tries to play the ball there. When he does, he loses his balance, and Andrew Harris gets the corner.
55-yard touchdown on the opening series, and now 5 catches for 101 for Harris in this season opener. Now it's Logan down inside the 35-yard line as Logan reverse field and chews up 7.
Well, the rookie head coach in Chris Jones, former defensive coordinator, defensive coach, is going to rely on his defense right now. Kahari Jones tries to call it up against the head coach / coordinator as he signals his out. What do they have on second down?
Need 3. Have to get to the 30-yard line. Looks one way and another, and he wants more than 3. Into the end zone, incomplete. Watkins against Jackson. We saw that matchup earlier.
Yes, and earlier Jackson makes the catch and was up 1-0 on Patrick Watkins. And let's take a look deep into the game. They go back to that matchup. Now I'm curious to know if Mike Benavides thought there might be any pass interference here, but both a little bit of a push by Watkins. At the same time, Ernest Jackson had a little bit of a grab as well. You can see Watkins' jersey off because of it.
And no review on offensive pass interference is possible. They're going for it, 3rd and 3. And that one intercepted. Eric Samuels got it, and he'll hit the deck. Pass intended for Corey Williams. The 4th interception of the game tossed by Kevin Glenn. With 1:08 remaining.
Well, you know, when Kevin Glenn took the gamble to go down the field and try and test Patrick Watkins with Ernest Jackson on second down, now he basically puts the trump card with the defense, because now he's got to find that perfect pass, the perfect zone, and you can see Williams upset. The ball inside, and Eric Samuels comes up with it.
to second guess, but boy, that was a low percentage going against Patrick Watkins on 2nd and 3.
Well, you're right. I mean, and that's where Andrew Harris, Stephon Logan get the first down and a new set of downs first. But you're right. It's easy to be up here in second guess. Kevin Glenn, I don't think clearly that deep shot was not his primary target. But he had Ernest Jackson make the catch in the first half. Went back to the well, and this time Watkins said, not this time.
Eskimos a first down away from really locking this up. Clock running down. The Lions will look for the stop and a timeout and get the ball back. Thomas inside. Lunging for the 40. He'll be short. Now they'll stop the clock with 38 seconds to go. And the Lions will get the ball back one more time.
Timeout, BC.
They will. They'll call a timeout here, and I'm thinking if you're the BC Lions now, they have a choice to make on this very next play. You load up the line of scrimmage, sell out for the block, knowing that if Edmonton does kick it away, then the cover team wins because there's the returner's by himself. So that's a long field with what will probably be about 20 seconds left for Kevin Glenn. You sell out for the block here and you play for a return if you're Mike Benavides. Try and get as much out of the return as you can and then take a couple shots offensively.
Well, you do have Logan, or do you? Logan backpedaled to the sidelines. Now he is coming out.
Well, it's one back, so they're going to have 11 up on the line.
Greg Dipkinson spent some time with Grant Shaw prior to this kick to give him full instructions.
But they're not on the line of scrimmage, so they're playing for the return.
And it will be Logan through the first wave and tossed down by Sharoon at the 39. 27 seconds on the clock for Kevin Glenn. 6 yards on that return, a 37-yard boot.
3 plays, possibly. He knows that the Edmonton Eskimos are going to back off a little bit so they don't give up a deep one. So he should have that underneath to intermediate area available to him. Probably work the sideline, certainly on this short side. And right now it's Corey Williams and Ernest Jackson on the short side.
Kevin Glenn had only 7 interceptions all last year, 4 in the opener here. 3-man rush underneath Harris. Ducks back and lost the football, and Eskimos have it. Marcus Howard has it, and that is going to do it. Well, we saw Michael O'Shea on Thursday night, and now it will be Chris Jones in a head coaching debut, victorious in this one in stunning fashion on the road.
One of the issues for Edmonton last year was that plus-minus, that turnover ratio. They were 7th in the league, minus 15. In this game, in their opener, they won that battle. 5-1 was the turnover win for the Edmonton Eskimos. The final one being the last one that ended this football game. Marcus Howard bats it around a little bit, comes up with it, and the rookie head coach and Chris Jones will register his first win in week 1.
Last in the league a year ago in takeaways, but Chris Jones, the defensive mastermind, has restructured this. And as Michael O'Shea felt on Thursday night, Chris Jones will like that feeling as well. Victory formation for the Edmonton Eskimos, a stunning win here in a very difficult building to win for the road team.
This West Division is going to be interesting, isn't it? Everybody thought it was BC, Calgary, and Saskatchewan front runners. Both Winnipeg and Edmonton win in week 1.
Yes, the Bombers showed they're much improved, and Chris Jones has ample evidence that the Eskimos are a much improved team as well. Once again, the final. Edmonton 27, BC 20 in the season opener for Chris Jones.